I'm Elise, and thank you for joining me for this Kazoo Tent review. This week's travel review is sponsored by CarryClipss. Once again, thank you for joining me for this Kazoo Tent review. We are going to be assembling this pop-up tent and then taking it down. As we go through that, I will give you some tips and pointers about things you should keep in mind, or maybe some things that are good or bad about this particular tent. This is part of an entire series about pop-up tents. If you haven't seen the other videos, definitely click the link in the description of this video to see the entire playlist. There will also be a link to buying this product on Amazon in the description of this video. If you have any questions, of course, ask those right here in the comments, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so we are going to open this. The Kazoo Tent does come with a very nice case. It even has a cinch strap to try and keep it as small as possible. So I'm going to undo the cinch strap and undo the zipper. And this tent does come with a bag of stakes. It also comes with a bag of poles that you can use to hold the outside flap up. I'm not going to be putting those in because clearly I'm indoors and I don't have anywhere to stake the poles, but it does come with it. It also comes with some nice little straps to hold everything together for the tent as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing assembled. So the Kazoo Tent has a Rainfly, so I'm going to set that off to the side and we'll start with the tent itself. So just like the previous video that we did, this particular tent, the way you're going to set it up is you're going to stand it up and then you're going to let the legs drop out to the side. Then you're going to take the center part and you're going to pull up on it. This particular tent is square, so it will fit people the same length all the way across. Once you've pulled it out like so, you're going to pull up and then lock each leg into place. There will be a small snap. All right, once you have the legs all in place and it is at its full height, you are going to push down on this center part until it snaps in place. This is very similar to the assembly of another tent we did in this series. This particular tent also has 2 doors and has the Rainfly. So let's go ahead and put the Rainfly on now. As you're doing this, make sure you're putting it on right side up. This is something that I've done wrong with this tent a couple of times. The other thing you want to look for is where the door belongs, and make sure you put the door on the right side. It makes it a lot easier. There we go. Finally. Okay. Okay. So you can see we have the door here. This flap can unzip and come up, and you can stake it out with the stakes that are included in the bag. And then there was the door underneath that we already saw that zips all the way around and comes down. The fabric on this particular tent is also very thin. It is a little bit thicker maybe than the previous tent. I would still definitely waterproof everything on this. Because the tent is square, you'll be able to fit more people in it. It is, again, supposed to be a 4-person tent. You're probably going to be more like 2 or 3 adults. If you've got children, you might be able to fit more. When I assembled this indoors the first time, I thought that the other tent that we looked at was more sturdy. But when I took them outside and was in some pretty heavy winds, I realized this tent is actually slightly more sturdy than the other. Although I personally would not use this tent in high winds either. It does move a lot. challenge, if you're at this point in the video, we are going to be deconstructing this tent now, and just a similar tip to where I gave you before, you want to make sure you leave the Rainfly on when taking the tent down. And the reason is because it makes it easier to pack into the bag. To give you another warning, although this tent is pretty fast to put up, it is not as fast to take down. There are other tents that I would recommend if you want something that is fast up and fast down, but this one is pretty easy to assemble as far as getting a tent up as fast as possible. So let's go ahead and take this one apart. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to lift up the Rainfly and go to where the little legs are. And there is a red button that you're gonna push. When you push that button, the legs will automatically go down. You're gonna have to do all 4. All right, once those have all collapsed, looks like that back one hasn't yet, you'll be able to actually close the tent up. There we go. So for taking down the tent, I think this one is easier than the blue tent that we showed in another video. You're simply gonna pull up on the bars, just like on the other one, and then you'll be able to pull all the legs in, and then fold the sides in, just like on the previous video, and then we'll put it into the bag. If any of the legs are coming out taller than the others, just push down on them and they will collapse. Like that one. Or that one. Okay, so now we've got the tent all folded up. We just need to kind of capture all the fabric and pull it in together, and then we're going to use those little bands to tie it all together. So I'm going to actually just lay it down. We've got these little bands, and these are something you can definitely use. They're sewed. They have a little clip on them to make it easy. All right, so I'm going to slide. There's 2 of these bands. I'm going to just put the tent on top of the bands. I'm going to start on this end because it's smaller. Snap it together, and then I'm going to try the other side. Okay, and then these bands, you can cinch them. So I'm going to go ahead and cinch the bands to try and make the tent as small as possible. Oops. Okay, so now that we've gotten that all done, we're going to try and put it into the case. Now, when it comes with packaging, it has this little thing on the end. You don't necessarily have to keep it, but I actually find it helpful for trying to gather all the fabric on the end of that side. So I am going to keep it. You may want to save it, or you may not. That's completely up to you. Okay, so now I'm going to take this end and I'm going to insert it into the bag. I would suggest putting your poles and your stakes in the bottom so you don't have to fight with them later. Then we're going to take this end and try and insert it into the end of the bag. Like so. Now I'm going to attempt to zip it. Once you get past where the first cinch strap is, you can actually go ahead and cinch it, and that can help you keep it together for the rest of the zipper. Okay. And then go ahead and cinch the other cinch strap, and you can tighten it up as much as you want. And that is the Kazoo Tent review. As you can see, the put up is a little faster than the takedown. It can be a struggle, especially outdoors in the heat or the wind. The wind especially makes putting this tent away very difficult. If you're in an indoor setting and air conditioning, it's super simple. But if you are outside with any kind of weather, it can be very difficult to get this tent put away. But that is how you do it. This is the Kazoo Tent review. Don't forget to live your dream every single day, and I hope to see you in the next review.